Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Subject Matter. I'm your host, Stephen Jenkins, here with your co-host, Mr. Jonathan Dayton, and all the way from, where are you right now, Karlee?
Columbia, South Carolina.
All the way from there is Karlee Whitherite. We are experts in nothing, here to give you our thoughts and opinions on all of it. So this is the first time we're trying something new tonight. Jonathan's trying something old, which is like a 6-month-old Rice Krispie treat, if not more.
It'll expire.
And those and Twinkies and cockroaches are going to survive the apocalypse.
It says Best Buy. It doesn't say expired.
Right, that's right. But yeah, we're trying something new. We're having a remote guest tonight, Karlee Whitherite, who, surprise, surprise, we met at a karate studio. So we're not, we still have at least one of the classics. So we don't really know exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. I think because Karlee is down, it's the University of South Carolina, right?
Yes.
So we could talk about school. We could talk about her becoming TikTok famous. She has more TikTok views than any of us here.
Absolutely.
Which isn't that
difficult.
That's not difficult to do, but she does have a significant number more views than we do. We'll kind of go from there. So, Karlee, just introduce yourself, tell everybody about you, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so as I said, I'm Karlee Whitherite. I met these two lovely people at, once again, the karate studio. I am a public health pre-med major at the University of South Carolina in their honors college. And I have a minor in dance because dance has been a part of my life since I was 2 years old.
Very good. Very good. We had my sister on the podcast about a year ago talking about clogging, and I know that you don't clog, right? You do other.
I don't clog, but tap was my thing.
Tap dance. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So why don't you? Because I remember my sister saying some interesting things about tap dance. Why don't you defend tap dance, and you can hit up on the cloggers, and we'll start a friendly rivalry on here, which will explode into an all-out internet war, which I will love to watch. So go ahead, tell us about dance and all the intricacies within.
So the main difference between tap and clogging is that when a pair of clog shoes, they have like double plates or metal, whatever you want to call it, on the bottom of their heels. Therefore, when you make a single movement with your foot, more noise appears. A tap shoe has a single plate on the foot. I don't think a plate's the right term, but we're just going to go for it. A tap, there you go.
Yeah, metal plate.
Yeah, metal plate, yeah.
And a tap shoe only has a single plate on the shoe, so therefore you have to make more movement with your feet in order to make a decent sound to come out. So that's mainly the main difference.
So you're saying that tap is a lot harder.
It requires more
work
and effort than clogging.
In my opinion, it does. But the cloggers may come at me for saying that.
They might. I know multiple cloggers recently found out about the podcast. They knew about it, and then they forgot about it, and then we got
they need guests. We need a panel discussion.
We went up by two subscribers, and I'm pretty sure they were both cloggers. So we'll see how that goes, and let us know in the comments if you disagree.
In their defense, I have seen their showcases, and they are amazing. So I'm not coming at them.
Don't be nice. No, you can't be nice. We're trying to start a rivalry here. That's not how this goes.
Karlee is a notorious liar. Knows the word she says.
So how's school going for you in South Carolina? I assume we just got snow up here when the time of recording this. This is
3 days
April
ago.
20th.
Yeah.
And so
2 days ago.
Well, technically it was snowing again yesterday, but
it was
snowing in April, like the day after Easter. I assume you didn't get any snow down there in South Carolina.
No, I've been at the pool this week tanning. So
yeah,
it's supposed to be 90 degrees on Friday.
It's supposed to be 80 on the weekend here, but this is funny because...
But I think the winds are supposed to be like 40 miles an hour or something like that.
It was snowing, then it melted, and it's 80 degrees and some snow next week is what I heard, too.
Is that really more snow next week?
Possible snow next week. No, not in amounts copious to... We had 8 inches of snow. 8 inches plus of snow.
No, thank you.
Going from 80 to a flurry is still a pretty significant change.
So we'll see, and that's Western Maryland for you. Why did you choose University of South Carolina, Karlee, and then why did you choose your major?
Okay, so I applied to 8 schools. Some very prestigious, some state schools, some private schools. And what attracted me to the University of South Carolina was, A, the weather. It's amazing down here. I mean, y'all are dealing with snow and I'm dealing with sunshine. I can't complain.
Fair.
It's home to the #1 honors #1 public honors college in the nation, and it's very competitive to get in. And I always knew I wanted to be pre-med, and USC has a very outstanding pre-med program. And then I got into the honors college, and then I was selected as a top scholar, so therefore I have a full National Merit Scholarship to the university. And so it kind of became like a no-brainer deal, and I fell in love with the campus when I toured. And my mom is originally from this area, so I have a lot of family down here. So it was kind of a win-win situation. Plus, I really wanted a school with like the big like school spirit atmosphere, like college game day and the basketball team. And shout out to my Lady Gamecocks, because we just won the national title the women's basketball team, which is so awesome.
I could tell that was certainly a part of it based on your Snapchat and Instagram stories. That,
yes, I went to every home game.
Everyone?
I did not miss a home game.
Wow.
That's impressive. That's dedication.
That is impressive.
Yes.
So what's one thing? 'Cause this is your first semester down there, right? Or your second semester, first year?
Second semester. Ending my freshman year.
Okay. So we'll do 2 questions here. What's one thing that you thought was going to be bad about college that actually ended up being good, and then vice versa?
So I think one thing I thought was going to be bad was like the social atmosphere, because I'm not one that likes to go out and do certain things that college students like to do. So I thought like that was going to be hard to like make friends, but it hasn't.
Okay. Sure.
And then something I thought that was going to be good was probably like, let me think. Honestly, probably just like the living situation in college. Like, you think you know somebody, but then you really don't.
Yeah.
And then everything just changes. And I guess that kind of goes with friends as well. Like, you think you know people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, coming into college is like, oh, I have my best friend group coming in. And then it's like, no, like, you're just like, so I guess like that whole aspect just changes.
That's so true on both aspects of it. Like, we were fortunate enough to go to a state university, but we stayed at home.
Right, we lived at home during it,
which was nice. But I've heard the horror, I won't say horror stories, but the challenges to living situations for students from multiple people that are in college or have graduated, or vice versa. But I concur with
even
all of
at
that.
our college. I mean, any of my classmates that lived on campus would say the exact same thing that you're saying. Like, I guess it's just a typical college thing that because if you don't go with people, right, you're going to end up essentially dorming with somebody that you don't know, and then you have to meet them, and then you have to like learn to live with somebody that you've never met before. And I did it, and this doesn't compare at all, but for us, I don't know if you had to do it, but I had to do, for the state college we went to, there was like a preview day where you had to go and you had to stay the night in one of the dorms.
Oh, in the dorm.
Even for the people who were commuting.
It was terrible.
And those dorms there were just there was mold. I was sneezing the entire night. You get a pillow the size of like a chiclet.
Oh, it was terrible.
And a single blanket, literally a single blanket.
My bunkmate I won't say bunkmate. He had a separate bed, but it was so weird. It was so awkward. He spent the entire night yelling out the window to the other freshmen, females, in the dorms across with the window open. So I was like,
oh, that's much worse than my experience.
I feel inclined to either go back to bed, which I can't sleep, or get up and watch what he's doing.
Yeah.
It was a terrible interaction. But I understand too, like the friend situation. School is different. Like, I had a group of friends in high school that I was very close with, and in like college, it changed. Like, my friend group changed, and now that I'm out of college, my friend group changed. It's so weird. Like, even my best man, he's not going to watch the podcast, and I still respect him, and we're still friends. However, we don't talk. Like, I was close with him 4 years ago, and haven't talked to him probably more than 10 words in like 4 years. And I thought
it's crazy
that we would be close even after college. Like, we were in college together, and we just kind of fell apart.
I'll talk to myself in a second, but I wanted to confirm. So, your friends down at college, were they from here? Like, did you know them beforehand and they went with you, or did you meet them at college?
Like,
okay.
As an out-of-state person, you meet people through like the Facebook pages, Instagrams, and so you kind of just like start talking, and like we would have Zooms, and like I like became close with a few people, but then like once you get here, like you realize like
right,
the contrast in personalities. It's like I feel like that one, like, in-person connection is, like, so important. And, like, especially due to COVID, like, we lost that for, like, quite some time. So, like, being, like, the first group of freshmen in a year to finally have that, like, one-on-one, like, face-to-face, like, contact, like, it just, like, it was just, like, not the same.
Yeah. No, I completely get it. I know for me, it was, we've talked about this on the podcast before. When we went, because we were already in, you were graduated, I was still in college when COVID hit. I liked when we all got to stay home and I could play my Nintendo Switch during a lecture. But, you know, I know that's not the same for everybody. Luckily for me, most of my friends in college I worked with at Chick-fil-A where I worked at the time. So the people that I actually like really like to hang out, I also saw them at work. And so even though we were online and I didn't really see them other than in class, I still saw them at Chick-fil-A. So that was a little bit different for me.
And I'm still in school and I'm doing it online now. Like I think I enjoy the online aspect. Like when I could take online classes in undergrad, I jumped all over them because I wanted to graduate early. It wasn't because I wanted to get out of classes. They were easier. You could do them in the summer, do them in the winter. So that was nice, but going to school currently now with online students, the connection's definitely not there. Like I don't attend town halls and like meet and greets with the professor because you don't have to. It's not a requirement. And to be honest, it doesn't benefit me that much. Plus I have other things going on. But it's weird though, because like every class that I'm in with different people. Some are the same, and I'm like, oh, I know you because I had class with you last semester. Don't really know you at all, but the name's familiar. Right. And so it's like, I feel like I know you, but I really don't. And it's just a weird interaction because you're going to college basically by yourself and for yourself. That's what grad school is. Undergrad's different, but grad school and doctoral programs, and especially going to like a giant online university, you're just segregated. There's no university feel at all. It's just like you're going to school for yourself and by yourself.
It's like an online class that you take that's not actually at a university.
Yep.
Like a course that somebody else made, and that's essentially what you're doing at that point. Have you did you do any like winter classes, or did you just go take your Christmas break and go back?
So I took my Christmas break, but I will be here all of May taking a chemistry class in lab and taking stats online.
I took stats online, so stats online is not bad. I'm not a stats person, so I did it online for a reason. Right? For a reason.
That surprises me. I figured you'd be a stats
No.
guy.
I like to read and analyze stats. I don't like to calculate the statistics.
Fair enough.
So there's a difference.
Yeah.
So I understand that. So best of luck with your labs and your
You like to see the results,
stats.
but not have to create not create
the graph.
Put them in the graphs. But.
You know what I find interesting, Karlee, about University of South Carolina is their public health program, which I've heard from multiple people. It's phenomenal, and it interests me because I'm in a doctorate program for public health right now. And so, why did you choose public health as your undergrad major? I know pre-med's part of it because I did pre-med too, but why did you choose that as your front?
Yeah, so I came in as bio, and then I learned about the Arnold School of Public Health, which I get to learn about the policy and administration end of healthcare. But I also get more like health science classes. So like in the fall, I'm taking like intro to public health and exercise science class. I get 2 semesters of anatomy. And like those classes I was not getting with a bio major. I would have been learning more about plants, which kudos to anyone who loves plants, but that's not my thing.
I wasn't a fan of botany.
Nope.
And so it just fit more what I see myself doing in the future. And USC has a really good program for public health. And so I knew I had to make the switch, which is official now. And I'm so excited. So
what do you see, that's going to be my next question, what do you see yourself doing after college? I know that can change because it changed for me like 3 times in the course of college.
Me too.
What do you see yourself doing once you graduate?
So I plan on applying to med school. And right now, my top 2 specialties are OBGYN and pediatrician.
Good. Now, I think that's a good plan. We had a friend that was on podcast who got accepted to med school.
Yep.
That was his plan. I think that's good. I love, and it's a shameless plug because my job now, I get to promote this stuff. It's not a shameless plug for me, but it's for anyone that wants to get into the medical field. I encourage like public health or psychology like I did or something other major and pre-med at the same time because you learn both sides of it. I went going into it wanting to do medical school too, and I ended up changing my mind. But I learned the administration stuff is so neat to me now. And so when you graduate and you go to med school and you try to find a job, you're versed in two different sides of it. The clinical side from the med school experience and anatomy and the labs, but then also the administration stuff. So you can get a job virtually doing anything at a hospital, health department, public health, college. I mean, there's so many opportunities.
Absolutely. So going back to the online classes, what is your guys' funniest online class story? Whether it be, it can be anything. Mine, whenever I tell mine's going to be the person with the unmuted mic classic. But Jonathan, we'll start with you. What's your funniest?
You caught me off guard.
All right.
You
think Karlee
already has one already loaded.
All right, go ahead, Karlee.
So I took dual enrollment in high school, and so most of my community college classes were online.
Mm-hmm.
So I never knew the professors or anything.
Right.
And one professor sent me an email with so many vulgar words. He did not mean to put them. His phone was autocorrecting, and his cat sent the message.
How often do you have to use those words for autocorrect to them?
It was 3 bad words in the email.
Often. That's
it was so funny. He sent me back a whole paragraph of apology. He sent me a picture of his cat, and he goes, "This is who hit sent on my computer."
That's so funny. I don't know. We didn't plan this, but literally the last 3 or 4 episodes of this podcast, we've mentioned vulgarity at least once.
Yeah.
I don't know how that. I don't know how we got that. But anyway, go ahead, Jonathan. Do you have your story yet? Or?
This is a real funny story because I'm sure there is one. I just can't think of one right now. However, during my master's program, I had a professor, and online classes are weird because professors have deadlines. They're like, you need to grade the students' papers by this date, and you can interact with your professor, but they choose when they want to reply. And so I had a scheduled meeting with this person. I had questions about the assignment. I had no idea how to do it. Scheduled meeting. Never showed up. So I was like, okay. Scheduled another time with him. He never showed up. Stopped replying to my emails. And I was like, I'm going to fail this class unless I meet with this professor. Finally, we just meet up, and he apologized for his behavior, which I'm like, okay, great. And then out of the entire conversation, I learned nothing about. He answered none of my questions. None. He started out with, if you need a recommendation letter from a professor from this university, I'd be happy to write you the best recommendation letter to whatever college or whatever job you want. And I said, you know nothing about me. You don't know who I am. You don't know my grades. You don't reply to me. This is the first time we've interacted, and you just want to write me a letter.
Right.
Is that like a thank you?
It's
or
a bribe.
Or an apology for not getting back to me? That doesn't help me in my
It
studies.
doesn't help you pass this class, which is going to affect your grade.
Exactly.
That's funny. My story involves it's a student and a teacher, but it's the teacher's reaction to the student. So this guy, I don't know. I understand every once in a while forgetting to unmute your mic or to mute your mic after you're done talking. I understand that, but I don't know how you can do it every single class, and sometimes multiple times during the class. This guy would literally, he'd be taking notes on his computer, so the professor's trying to talk, his mic is on, and we hear which, because the microphone is built into the computer, just sounds like an earthquake. This guy apparently also just had constant he had a permanent cold, and he was constantly hacking and coughing into his microphone. One time he literally was it sounded like he was gargling with salt water or something like that. He literally into the microphone goes, not just losing it. And then the best one that happened, and I'll get to the professor's reaction here in a second. The best one was she was talking about an assignment that we had just completed. And she said, so some of you guys didn't turn this assignment in. And he was like, wait, when was this assignment due? At the start of class today. And he just yells at the top of his lungs, the largest expletive you could have put in there, at the top of his lungs. And I'm just going to say frick, but he goes, frick! Into the microphone, blows everybody's ears out. the professor for every single one of these things does not react to him saying this. She moves on to the next thing. So as soon as he goes that, frick! So we're going to move on to this next chapter in the book today. Every single time we had to actually like put in the chat, dude, turn off your microphone. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else finds that as funny as I did, but I was in the midst of me playing my Nintendo Switch listening to this. It was quite humorous.
Yeah. During COVID, I have used Zoom, Google Meets, Microsoft Edge, GoToMeet, like 15 different platforms. And I've also found it funny that I feel awkward getting on a meeting when like your camera and your mic's turned on, like you're able to use it.
Yeah.
Versus like webinars where like you can only type in the chat, or you can only be unmuted by the professor. Like I was in a meeting today and I was on two meetings at once because I had overlapping meetings. So my phone here is Zoom on and this one over here. I looked over at one point and like this one wasn't muted and it should have been muted. It's like I feel so weird about it. Like you're not doing anything wrong. It's just, especially in a class like that. I feel like I had to pay attention the entire time. It drives me nuts.
No, I agree. Any funny in-class stories, Karlee?
Oh man. So this actually happened last week. There's this kid. I had Bio 101 with him, and I had Bio 102 with him.
Kid.
And he just shouts the most random things in the middle of class, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone in the group me after class was like, was this a Chris Rock and Will Smith moment? Because literally. So my professor was saying something and this kid just goes out loud, I did not say that. And the professor goes, I think you need mental health, like help. And the whole class was like taken back by it. He goes, I seriously think you need help. And the kid starts screaming on the top of his lungs.
Does this kid actually need mental health help?
They got in a confrontation. He went up to him after class and they started screaming at each other again.
Removing from the academy.
So bad.
Submit your resignation now to the university.
He's banned for the university for 10 years.
Yeah.
I had one.
So bad.
I was trying to think. There was one class. It happened twice, maybe 3 times. It wasn't in the class, but the door to the classroom was open, and this same guy walked by singing the songs that he was playing in his headphones at the top of his lungs, and it was at both times it was literally like at minute 5 of the class. Like we could pinpoint when it was coming. That was pretty funny. A guy also fell asleep in the front row. And the professor walked up to him, tapped him, and he was like, hey, I don't care that you're sleeping, but you started to snore, so I had to wake you up.
Yeah, I've had multiple of those moments. It's funny to see the professors and how they interact with students. Like, people think...
Some of them just don't care
People think that college is, like, partying, like, the opposite of what all 3 of us did in college or doing in college. But some of that is true, but it's so different than high school. When you think in high school, like, I thought that I had a lot of freedom, at least my senior year. I only had a small amount of classes. I had half the day off. I did other things. But like college, it's like if you're self-motivated, you do fine. If you're not, you are so totally screwed in college, and they don't care about you at all. Like, do you think they do? And they truthfully, they do help you keep on track. And professors and guidance counselors, they do. But for the most part, it's like, if you don't invest yourself, you are not going to survive.
It was like
college.
a 70-30 split for me. 30% of my professors really did care, and they would reach out and help you. And some of them, like, some to the point, like, they waived grades for certain things because people didn't get them done on time. And I'm not saying that you have to do that to be a good professor, but it was in a writing class, and they said, look, I care more about the results of your work if you can get it in. As long as you get it, I don't care if it's in on time. I care about the results, and I think that in that case he cared more about student learning. Whereas other people, I think, and I know we talked about this on Addie's episode when she was on here with the education episode. But some professors they take pride in how difficult their class is and how little their students pass. And you can take pride in being a good professor for a difficult class, but the difficulty is not what makes a class good. It's whether or not students are actually learning. And if they're not learning, that's your job as a professor to make sure that that's happening. I'm not saying that certain students can't be held accountable, but when the smartest people in the class are getting 70% because the tests don't make any sense, I think there's an issue with that.
A professor last semester, and it was an honors class. So, like, we're all smart sitting there.
Yeah.
He just,
Look at big heads, all smart sitting there.
All smart sitting there.
Yeah.
Everybody's intelligent.
Big head.
Were you the smartest one in the all smart class?
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Didn't even hesitate.
Still in the same, we've not left the college topic the entire time, which I think is fine. Question for you. You said that you wanted the college life, like, experience of a big college. Are you doing anything down there currently that's, like, student activity related, besides honors college?
And besides football.
And besides basketball
Or
games?
basketball.
Or making,
Besides
making funny TikToks in the hallway.
I'm a peer leader in the fall, so I've been in training all semester.
Cool.
And then I'm a part of Honors Dean's Council, which is basically like student council for the Honors College. So, like, we plan, like, all the big Honors College events. So, like, we did the Honors Gala in February, which was so much fun. And, like, coming to a school like this, like, the budget is so much bigger than, like, a tiny public school. So it's like
tuitions also.
I just, like, can't wrap my head around it.
You can't clear the entire campus in 5 minutes, I guess.
No.
How many students are there? 20,000 students? How many students?
37,000?
37,000. I was way off. Okay, fair enough.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow.
I think my freshman class has a little over 7,000.
Which is more than about the same amount of the entire
At our college, I mean, it's like 4,000, I think, when I was there for the entire campus, I think.
I thought it was in the 5,000. But regardless, it's significantly more than
about a 30,000 difference at
our
least.
state university, which is absolutely insane. I can't imagine the budgets and things you can plan, and it's an interesting experience to go to.
If you could change one thing about your campus in general, like not your experience, but like
campus,
some like the campus, whether it be, I don't know, at a restaurant.
I'm sure they have better food than us. We did.
That's not.
I have 47 dining options.
Yeah. See, we had like 15, maybe.
Let me put it like this: what, not just the campus, but like the school. What's one thing that you would change after less than a year being there?
One thing I would change.
And don't worry, they're not watching this. I promise you.
I'm trying
Send it to the dean of the honors college.
Honestly, probably this is so dumb, and it's obvious because I'm in the capital of South Carolina. But the crosswalks, oh my goodness! If I could add more crosswalks to this campus, life would be golden. Mom, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but I have to jaywalk for my one class every single day, or I literally have to walk up the hill and then cross the street, and I don't have time for that.
Yeah, well, even Frostburg, we crossed streets without crosswalks, and it was kind of like a standing rule too. Like, cars knew to stop for students in places that didn't have crosswalks.
The biggest issue there was the parking.
There's no parking.
You had literally
massive, terrible here too.
Massive faculty parking lots, which were never full, and students parked along the street. Yeah. I had a friend.
I gotta find.
I don't know if he watches the podcast or not, but he had a big truck. I think like the big giant wheels that like not the stock wheels, that come with it. There was one time it snowed. It snowed. This guy pulls his truck in on I don't know like a 6-foot bank of snow. Drives up, parks on the top of it, gets out, and goes to class.
Yeah.
And that I don't know, it was just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But
I was
parking was right.
I had a dedicated spot that I could go to, fortunately.
Because of
the church club that I was with. They have a building on campus.
I figured it was like EMT.
No. You think they'd give me a spot just being an EMT on campus?
Well, there's emergency
vehicles, but like my personal vehicle was not an emergency vehicle.
Okay. I just didn't renew my
parking pass
for like 3 months, and they finally got a ticket, and I was like, hey, what's this issue? And they said, well, because you didn't renew your parking pass. I tried to feign ignorance, and I was like, well, I didn't get an email about that, because I didn't get an email about that.
They'd fine anyone.
But they'd still fine you.
They had students on campus that worked for the police department that walked around and gave fines out for the smallest infraction just because they could.
I'll have my car on campus next semester. It'll obviously be in a garage, but the cost per semester for a parking pass. It's like, I think $450.
Imagine, wait, what?
$450.
$75 sounds a lot
So much better. Oh wow, that is insane.
Then again, imagine having a parking garage on campus.
Yeah, that would also be kind of crazy too.
We have like 6 garages or something.
That's crazy.
We have a lot, but like if you live off campus and you're commuting, like it's impossible to find a parking
bet.
spot.
So this is a random question, and there's a reason why I'm asking this. How far is Charleston from Charlotte, North Carolina?
From Charlotte?
Yeah.
So Charlotte is an hour from me, and I'm an hour and a half from Charleston. It's like 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours from you.
It's not bad.
Well, I was asking that for a reason. I'm going to North Carolina this weekend. I was just curious how far away.
Charlotte is literally like 60 miles from me.
I wondering how far am I going to be from University of South Carolina?
Okay.
Yeah, not even an hour.
Might come visit and just chill by the pool because apparently it's nice weather down there.
Apparently it's not snowing.
And not snowing up here.
Carolina.
I also don't have a pool at my house either, so that would be a plus.
You're working on making
I have a
patio
big
or
pool.
something, isn't it?
Anyway,
At the fitness center.
What'd you say?
A nice pool.
I need like a
nice pool.
make like a student ID. Like,
If you look up Strong Fitness Center, U of SC, you will see my beautiful pool.
see, we had none of that. We had exercise rooms.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have loved the amenities of a large university, but I also would not have liked how crowded classes are at a large university.
You know, honestly, like my honors classes like don't have more than 20 kids in them.
That's not bad.
I was going to
But
say, what's the smallest
my,
class that you have?
Big lecture halls, most people just skip anyways, so then it's like 50 kids.
That's true.
Oh, never mind. Fair enough.
What is the smallest class that you have, and what's the biggest?
So technically, my biggest class right now is my chemistry class with 220 kids, but like no one shows up because you can either join online or in person. So like honestly, there's like not even 50 people in the lecture hall.
Okay.
And then my smallest class right now is probably my English class, and I think there's like 17 of us.
So English is about how ours English was, about 17 students. I think mine had like 20 couple. But chemistry, I probably had like 50 students probably in my chemistry class, broken up 2 labs, so labs of like 25 students each. So that's, I mean...
The department of my major was small already. And
ours
so
is
some of like the classes, especially when you get to those upper levels,
They shrunk.
They're upper level and they're not mandatory even for the major.
Yeah.
Because you have your general ed that everybody has to take, and then you have the major, but then different tracks.
General ed.
Then you have different tracks within the major, and not everybody has to take those classes. So one of my video production classes only had like 8 people in it, and then one person tweeted out a bunch of inappropriate things, and he got kicked out of the class very quickly. So it went down to 7. But
the one thing that always amazes me, though, and I know we're running out of time here, but what amazes is just how big the lecture halls are. Like, we toured UK, University of Kentucky, and like their science department, like they had a jumbotron when you walked in the department. I'm like, this is insanity. Like, this is kind of neat to have like this atmosphere, but like I couldn't imagine going to a university like that has a lecture hall of like 350 seats compared to ours that had. I think Guile had one of the biggest ones that I was in, and maybe 120 students could fit in there. Maybe.
It's like auditoriums. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Like classrooms or auditoriums, and like we had like 3 on campus.
The biggest, right? That center one.
Yeah, Gunter was pretty big. I mean, Gunter was pretty big. Like, we had like small auditoriums, like 3 or 4 of them around campus, and every classroom at these large universities are like giant halls. So I don't know.
To wrap up, Karlee, how do you become TikTok famous? What's the secret?
You gotta, it's all about the algorithm. I have my creator tools on because I have more than 1,000 followers.
Okay.
I'm over 3K now. My last 2 videos have been popping off the charts. Not gonna lie.
Wow.
And you just have to keep track the analytics with what hours your followers are most active, and when you post during those times and use the trending hashtags.
So much more in depth than I've ever been with TikTok. That's interesting.
And use the trending hashtags. You develop a following.
I have gotten that. I got the trending hashtags down, but
And if you like post the same content, you're like developing like a following base that likes that specific content. So like if I stick to dance, I attract more like the dancer following.
Yeah, I found that out. So my account only has like 800 followers, and it's a hodgepodge of just video collages because I don't put any time and effort into my TikToks. We're all aware of that.
Yep.
But my other account that I manage, it's a fire account, and like I had already pre-made video content from like a video production crew that I could post on there, and it got like 4,000 followers in like 6 months, and has like 30,000 likes or so. But it's dedicated content all to one thing, and I've used the same caption almost every single time, the same hashtags every single time, and it's the same people that like that stuff that are firefighters that follow the page.
Mm-hmm.
No random people. It's just all the same community. I guess the word.
What's your? I think it's the one where you drove around Pennsylvania, right? That's your most viewed, isn't it?
Yes, it has 750,000, and then my most recent one is almost at 200K of me dancing.
Oh,
and then I just posted another one, and it's over 20,000 right now.
Wow.
So when she's back in town, we need to make a TikTok video of dancing somehow.
Right.
And
we'll have her plug the podcast on her TikTok to get us views.
Since she's famous now, over 1,000 followers.
Yeah, over 1,000 followers.
Videos that have like tens of thousands of likes.
That's what we'll have to do.
She's gonna be like living in California one of these days, and one of those.
I'm just waiting for LA to call me. You know.
Well, aren't we all?
One of these days. One of these days.
One of these days.
I'm going to LA in the summer, so I'll bring you back a lanyard or something, a souvenir.
Okay.
Get in touch with your contacts there and say, hey, there's this girl. She does
all my contacts in LA. I have a lot of friends, but no one in LA or Vegas or anywhere over there on the West Coast.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's just about it. We're probably not even rolling on Jonathan's close up anymore. So, thanks for joining us, Karlee. Glad it worked. Hopefully, this video that we're recording now will be seen. If you're seeing it, it succeeded, and if not, then they won't even know the difference. So we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and go far. What's your handle on TikTok?
It's Karlee, KarleeX, and then Madison, Madison.
Do you have to do this when you type it in for it to work?
Karlee
X.
Ha!
Whenever I see it, I always read it Karlee times. What is it after that?
Madison.
Madison, yeah. Karlee times Madison. I don't read it as X.
We would all get this. Extreme.
Extreme. No,
we all know.
No. It's legit and extreme.
Legit and extreme. Okay, fair enough.
Well, you were talking about something.
Yeah, the first thing we all know we're talking about here.
Extreme.
Yep.
All right, that's the note we're going to end on. We'll see you guys next week.